Hello. Yeah, just going back to we're talking about the end of film. I get a bit worried that we're picking this date, end of 2013, like the switch is going to go off. I'm wondering if it's going to be a state of something more gradual. If we take a film like Romeo and Juliet, there were only 1035mm copies of that, prints of that film in New South Wales. A little bit like Australia, we were the fastest to take up colour television, we were the fastest to take up mobile phones. Are we going to see a tipping point? Are we going to see a stage similar to Hong Kong where once one distributor starts to wind down the number of prints that are available and therefore another one does and another one does? So even though we may have the supply, I'm worried that towards the end of that period, smaller people who haven't converted are going to have big problems choosing programs, in that there could be some titles which are simply not available because that particular distributor is not distributing that title or is distributing it digital only. What do the panel think? Is that likely to happen from distribution and I guess in the studios?
Well, I don't, I'm not going to make any predictions about the dates, but I think part of the ugly truth is it comes down to economics, and that to keep a lab up and running and be able to actually create film prints, there's a significant investment to doing that, and without the volume, each individual print ends up bearing more of the cost of that facility and everything to just keep it up and running to make those prints. So as the volume goes down, those prints are going to become very, very expensive, and it will come down to an economic decision on the studio's behalf or the content creator. Are they willing to expend the money and the expense that's required to make fewer and fewer prints when those facilities to create them really cost a lot of money to keep up and maintain? And I think that's probably the ugly truth about it, is as the volume goes down, they're going to get more expensive, and that is what will probably drive it.
And since I'm the one that made the prediction about the date, I'll answer your question and say no, it's not an automatic switch where everything shuts off at film at the end of 2013 in the US and shortly thereafter around the world. Obviously it'll be a case-by-case analysis, and do the economics of this picture and the print count legitimize distributing it in film or not? And that'll be a phase-in thing over time. But just to punctuate what's driving our prediction on that date, even if it's not a switch and it may be a range and a phase-out, think about what's driving the timing of the transition. All these virtual print fee deals have cutoff dates. They're all different. There are 5 installers, integrators in the United States, and they all have different dates. There are different companies all around the world, but they all have cutoffs. And the studios insisted on having these cutoffs for the reason that they wanted to get to the point where they could save money. Remember that the impetus for the studios to drive the transition to digital cinema was saving billions of dollars a year in print costs. So why would they let prints go on and on and on? So in all these deals, they put in cutoff dates. There's a cutoff date for when you have to sign your agreement. There's usually a cutoff date for when you have to install your equipment in order to qualify for those VPFs over a long period of time. In the United States, all 5 of the integration deals have cutoff dates that end prior to the end of 2013. That adds up to about 30,000 plus VPF deals, and so the vast majority of the exhibitors in the US, in order to collect VPFs, will have made the decision to do the deal and do the installation by 2013. So then if you're a distributor, you're looking at a footprint of just a few thousand screens left, which in our country is not very much. It's akin to dozens or maybe even 100 screens in Australia. And when you're looking at the cost of a print buy on those small volumes, as an economic proposition, it just doesn't make sense to buy the prints anymore. Technologically, it'll still be there. And if you want to do a special run and send out 10 prints of a special film, you can. It will just cost the distributor thousands and thousands of dollars per print to do that. So economically, when you add it all up, there's a terminus coming, and it's not a flat-out switch, it'll be a phase-out, but that's the best projection we can give in order to educate our members enough to get going to make the transition happen.
It is an evolution, really, and with any evolution there is change, much like unleaded petrol. I cry because I've got a Valiant, and what do? But it has to happen. So I can't imagine these things have to change. It's just, if you wanted that 135mm print, it probably cost you $48,000 to play it, because it's the only one in existence. It's just not going to happen. But it is a shame that everyone's forced into it. However, everyone will get better stuff. This is what I'm learning. I'm just letting you know what I'm learning. Any more questions?